Hello and welcome to my channel, and thank you for finding me and thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. I was going to continue my part 3 on demons, but decided to make a video just focusing on this topic. So first of all, if you're finding this channel, please hit the subscribe button. Please scroll through my playlist and send some links to your friends and family. This channel is hardcore. I talk about stuff that has gotten me completely shadow banned on this platform. And as you know, I will be moving over to Patreon soon. So that being said, a lot of the topics that I talk about are completely silenced. And you will notice the quality of my videos, the content of my videos, the knowledge that I share in my videos is very, very high. And then you will also notice the view count rate is extremely low. So it is very disproportionate, but I'm still doing it. I'm still here. I'm not stopping regardless. And of course, digital ID is coming through in Australia in December, which was very sneakily pushed through by Parliament under the guise of Children Watch, which I have talked about before. It is the job of the parents to be doing any level of monitoring of their own kids' internet usage, not the government's overreach. So I did start a series talking about demons, and I'm not going to be just kind of limiting it to just, one or two videos. It's such a huge topic. It is such a real topic, and it's something that people and the algorithm is, are just not going to be really wanting to hear about. So that's exactly why I'm going to be talking about this. And I can talk about this particular topic because I have been in this business. I have been in this industry to a certain extent. So I have first-hand experience in talking about pornography, and I have first-hand experience in talking about the toll that any level of sensual or sex work can take on you. So yes, I'm telling you, what I'm about to share with you is not coming from something that I read. It is coming from a man that has been involved in this. So I was on the inside at one stage in my life, and it's something that I am now starting to own, and it's something that I'm trying to navigate and live with. That being said, this isn't about me being a prudish person, because I'm not, but it is about building awareness of the realities of this industry and how it is connected to the demonic world. All right, so a lot of people will be clicking away going, I don't like that, I don't like that, and I'm just like, I don't give a fuck, just shut up and listen to what I have to say, because whether you know it or not, whether you are a spiritual person or not, you could just be a standard NPC, enforcer, in what I call an NPC enforcer, which is someone that doesn't really think for themselves. They don't have an opinion on anything other than what's trending. They don't do the research. They can't be bothered to do any level of spiritual development. There's no self-reflection. And they're enforcing the matrix of the system because they will not take any level of accountability for their own behavior and what they partake in. All right. So I have mentioned this before, and I've got some videos here pertaining to the gay culture, and how destructive and how dangerous this is to the soul, to the mind, and to the body. But in this particular video, I'm going to be sharing with you what the effects of porn really do to the soul. All right. So that being said, the degeneration of the soul, regressing and atrophying and kind of being mutilated, absolutely is connected to people's use or misuse of porn. And one of the darkest things about the porn industry, and you can Google this is common knowledge, and it's also quite silenced in terms of how it's marketed, but you will know that even, I think it was 2028 and to 2024, just last year, it was 1 porn star was killing themselves daily, and then it got weekly. So a lot of people that are in the work industry, a lot of people that are in the pornography industry, which is mostly what I'm focusing on here when I talk about pornography, they are dead. They overdose and they drop like flies. So there is a lot, I would say most people that are caught up in the porn industry, they have a very, very high death rate after their career ends. Okay? So the spiritual consequences of porn from an occult point of view, from a spiritualist point of view, it's catastrophic. And being a young, good-looking man, being a young, good-looking woman, it is kind of this very tempting and alluring thing where you can live a certain lifestyle that you would never really be able to live otherwise. There is such an attraction to the social aspects of going to parties, being invited by people, being seen as famous, being seen as beautiful, and of course making money that you otherwise couldn't make if you were working at Starbucks or if you had some kind of 9-to-5 job. Obviously money equals time. The more money you have, the more time you have. And in some cases that's true. But the allure of this industry has always been purely demonic. It preys on young people. It pulls them into a lifestyle that pretty much always fucks them up. I wouldn't know a porn star, and I've known many porn stars. I've even dated a porn star at one stage in my life, back in my 20s. I've lost a couple of that have been caught up in even fans only that are actually gone now. So I'm explaining this to you from a point of view of someone that was there, but the effects of it really break you down. They wear you down. They consume you. All right. And this isn't just for gay men or for, this is just in general. The allure of a lifestyle that really can't last long term. Okay. Now, in my series I've been talking about with demons, I need you to understand something. When it comes to demonic attachment, demons love porn. They love the infantilization of it. They love the energy of the abuse of it. They feed off the darkness of it. What's the word? It's like the manipulation of it. It's all very much demonic. I have talked about this to no end, and I'm going to share it again, is that when we don't have a spiritual presence with other people, how we treat them is often just like a doll or a toy that we play with. So it's very reductive. It takes a human, puts them in this disassociated state where we consume someone else to feed our need. So when we go through any level of objectification, any level of, the word objectification is quintessentially turning someone into an object, it's an object. We are disassociating the human aspect of that person. We're disregarding their soul. We're disregarding their personality, who they are. We're purely operating in the lower aspect of the human, in the animalistic side of a human, in the in the id, quintessentially, if you know that Jung term, all right? So it's all about reducing someone to something that we consume and then discard. So we have to be in a state of disassociation on some level to consume pornography. We don't know who that person is. We don't know the bruises that end up on her body afterwards. We don't know that she had to be drugged to do that. We don't know her story. We don't know. So this disassociation from someone in regards to consuming it teaches and hardwires the brain to be very disconnected from the higher aspects of the divinity of a human. So when we operate in the lower aspects of the divinity of a human, that is where the demonic sits. That's where the parasitic sit, all right? Those parasitic energies that feed off dark energy. So I have mentioned before that when especially and I see this a lot with gay men, because as an occultist, I probably can't share it on this platform, but there are actual satanic rituals that are connected to men having sex with each other, because the act of it in itself is a mockery of natural state. It's a mockery of the natural world. So when you do something, and I don't care, you can freak out when I say this. I don't care. It's the truth. All right. I will not be silenced. I'm just going to keep doing videos like this and putting this out there. Everything that you do, everything that you say, everything that you feel has a spiritual consequence. No one gets away with anything. No one. All right? That's why a lot of people freak out when they come to me and they want shadow work, because we're going to go into the places that you're trying to hide. We're going to go in the places that you don't want to go, that make you feel uncomfortable. Okay? We're going to trace the cords back to the wall. That's why people freak the fuck out, because we have to go back there, because that is where the answers are, because we have not looked there yet. All right? So this is the truth. So anything that's unhealed festers. Anything that's swept under the rug festers. It doesn't go away. Nothing goes away. All right? So I just want to make that clear. And that's not on the subject of pornography, but what I'm saying is shame and self-hatred and self-abuse and debasing yourself and your self-worth is all connected to the spiritual world. All right? So no one gets away with anything. And a lot of these people in the industry, I've noticed a lot of them have come and gone. It always starts off as this, wonderful experience. They're getting invited to things, they're making money, they're living a lifestyle, they get sucked in to this thing, people, validate them. It sits in the ego. It doesn't really sit necessarily in the heart aspect of a person. So, and it traps them. It absolutely traps them. All right. And that is where the demonic attachments start coming in. Any level of addiction, any level of someone being hopelessly connected or needing to consume something every day to get that hit, to get that high, that is where demons come through. Demons live in the realm of the mind, and they can start to manifest within the body. A lot of the time I see demonic attachments generally around the back, the neck, and the shoulders. And I have noticed this. So these days, as we're living in such an inverted world, and a lot of pornography and a lot of this kind of like sex positive shit is all part of this rebellion act. It's this, I'm free, I want to be rebellious, I'm rebelling, I'm sexually liberating myself, I'm empowering myself. But plot twist, you're not. Okay? You are not. There is no power in licking a toilet seat. There is no power in letting a man run a train on you with his buddies. There is no power in being turned into a toilet. Okay, that's not power. That's disempowerment. All right, so we have to understand the dynamics here with a sub and a dom. And because a lot of pure abuse and RAPE all comes under the guise of S&M play, sadomasochism. So the concept of sadomasochism, masochism or masochistic behavior usually is someone that enjoys, using someone, that gets power off turning someone into an object that they can objectify and play with and throw around like a rag doll. But it usually always comes under the guise of play or under the guise of a character or some shit like that. But it's not. It's just straight up abuse. It's just another excuse, and it's a cover. So in a lot of like what people call kink communities, a lot of very, very sick, very, very dark, very, very fucked up people harbor and hang out in that little kind of thing, right? They stay in there. And it all comes under the guise of play, all right? So a lot of play, a lot of infantilation happens here, all right? That's what it is, straight up. So the dom or the top or whatever, it would be like the person that enjoys using someone, they get power off that. And then the sub is the person who is being used, gets their like high or their off, they get off on being used, on being the source of the dom's pleasure. And I have mentioned a lot of this before, where a lot of gay men, most gay men, I'd probably say about 90% of gay men these days are all bottoms. They're all trauma bonding. So it's like they have no direction in their own life. They have no cause. They have no spiritual purpose. They have no spiritual connection to their own divinity. And it's kind of very freeing to them. A lot of them, it suits to their personality, as a lot of sexual aspects of a person is based on that person's psychology, is a lot of them enjoy being told what to do, because in that moment, it gives them something to do. You know, it gives, when someone's telling them to do something, it gives them a feeling of purpose. That's why they enjoy being used, because they have a use of being used by someone now. So a lot of that plays into the psychology that goes into gay men in particular. But for the purpose of this video, I'm not just focusing on gay men, I'm focusing on porn as a business. It is much like the music industry in a way. It pulls young people in and offers them this kind of lifestyle that is seen as glamorous, but it's really not. And there's a lot of porn actresses that have come out over the years that have stated this, where they've come out and said, you know, I used to sleep in my suitcase, I was offered drugs, I was raped. You know, it was all of the, you know, I was pushed to do more hardcore scenes that I didn't really want to do. I was told that if I don't say yes to this, that my career would be over, that I wouldn't get my paycheck. And, you know, it's all basically fake. You know, it's fake. Much like the gay scene, it's fake and phony as hell. And it's pretend smiles, and everyone's pretending they're behind some kind of facade, that everything's fine, everything's good, and air kisses. And some of these people, I would say most people, just off the topic of being gay in the gay, off the topic of porn in the gay scene, most of these people are psychopaths, narcissists, sadists, and they are not good. They're lost. They're lost souls. Porn attracts lost souls, and it traps them. And then years later, the bounty that the demons get, guess what? It's the actor killing themselves. The actress is doing themselves in. They're doing a drug, they've done an overdose. Happens all the time, an all too common reality. And the porn industry never likes to talk about this. These days, the porn industry is not what it used to be. The power has shifted into the people, into the content creators' hands, where a woman can show her asshole or do private videos for cash, which is sex work in its own way. She's not actually having physical sex with men, but she is monetizing herself in a way that makes money from it. Okay, so the porn industry used to be controlled by, you know, evil executives of porno companies, and now it's really kind of gone into like the fans only route, where you don't need fancy lighting, you don't need a group of people with the sound boom mic, you can just do it all from your bedroom and you can start pulling in money, all right? I must warn you that this is infantilizing, and yes, it's addictive, but once you get caught up in it, it's very, very, very difficult to get out of it. And it's also very difficult for people that have done this to integrate back into society afterwards. There will be consequences. People will never take you seriously. Finding a job after, like, say, a 10 or 15 year gap in your history, it doesn't translate well. And I've had friends, I've had colleagues, I've had people that I've known that have tried to go back out into the real world, into the world of outside of porn, and they've had a lot of problems with people taking them seriously. It's very, very difficult to come back from this, because once the video is uploaded and it's public, your boss will be looking at it. Your friends your people around you, your colleagues, you'll be kind of like a joke. You'll be kind of, and people will see you in that way, particularly with gays, because gays have very lack virtue. And that's one of the things I've mentioned before. In order to have real relationships, you actually have to have virtue to do that. So without virtue, you can't actually have real love. That's why most gay relationships don't last more than a few years, or they go open, and that to me is ended. That's an an open relationship is an ended relationship, okay? But it's the lack of virtue is what ultimately undoes anyone, okay? So we've got to understand that this breaks people. It's broken people that can't recover from it. And after they begin to age and their beauty starts to flee from them, and they don't look how they used to look with their nice tight ass, and they don't have the body that they used to have, and they've got lines and wrinkles, they will be chewed up and spit out and thrown straight out the back door, and another young little 18-year-old girl will be coming through to take their place. So it chews you up and spits you out, as most systems do. In most work scenarios, just not even within the porn industry, if you died, you would be replaced faster than your funeral at your desk, okay? But yeah, when it comes to this stuff, people have legitimate problems in trying to integrate back into society after they have quit. A lot of them have a lot of drug problems, drug-related problems, and of course, there's huge amounts of challenges to try and get away from this, to get off it. Not to mention the demons will start to set up shop inside of you. They'll start to turn up your guilt, turn up the shame. They will start to whisper things in your ears. And also part of porn as well, and we know this because we've got the stats, a lot of the things that people start looking up, that they start needing to look for in terms of porn searches, become more and more extreme, because all of the dopamine, all of the chemicals in their brain, they kind of get desensitized to just normal sex. So in order for them to get turned on, they have to start looking at more extreme things, more abusive things, more degrading things. And so demons love that, because the more that a human degrades themselves, the more the demon can feed off the darkness of that. All right. So yeah, it's pretty fucked up. It's pretty fucked up. But yes, the demons love to get into what I call like a frenzy, a demon frenzy. All right. So sex parties, gangbangs, hardcore abuse. And it even goes, of course, it goes further than that. Of course it does, but I can't say it on this video, but you know what I mean. The demons love that because it brings you into this animalistic state. I have mentioned this before, is the story of Pinocchio is one of the most disturbing stories. And that film, actually, the animated one that Disney did, it really is such a heavy film, because what the story of Pinocchio is about a boy that is learning to tell the truth and be virtuous. And Jiminy Cricket was the God reference, Jiminy Cricket, JC, Jesus Christ, was this thing on his shoulder, the conscience that was trying to tell Pinocchio, don't go down that path with the fox and the cat. Don't go down this easy path of being infantilized into being a star. Don't go down the road of bypassing doing hard work for reducing yourself into entertainment for other people to just laugh at and consume. Don't go in or down the road of Pleasure Island. So the point of life is responsibility. The purpose of life is a spiritual path. So when we just operate purely in Maya, in the physical world, we don't see the soul. We don't look at the soul. We don't look at the consequences of what we do and how that becomes, and how that affects other people. It's all about the self. It's all about, orgasms. It's all about the infantilization. And in the book or in the movie, you'll see that Pinocchio gets led ultimately to Pleasure Island. He was also trapped on a performing stage, on a wheel that he couldn't get off. This is all very much connected to the demonic world. And of course, Pleasure Island. And coincidentally, you will notice there is actually a couple of porno companies. One of them was called Treasure Island. So the cross-reference there from Pleasure Island or Treasure Island is very similar, where it's like people go to this island and become donkeys. They have discarded their own higher aspects of their etheric body to be living like a pig in a trough, like pig world. And so you'll notice a lot of like dance parties, particularly even in the gay world, a lot of them are called pig trough. So you'll see a lot of this animalistic use of language within the actual like ownership of the name of the dance party or the club. Like, this is not a coincidence. There's also a famous porn company you might know of. I think it's called Evil Angel. Well, of course, who do you think it's talking about? You will always find religious, demonic wording in the actual use in the porno companies, like the names of them. Like, I'm not joking. You can look this up. If you know a few, leave them in the comments and let me know. But you'll see that they don't even hide it. It's always been there the whole time, always in our face. All right. So you'll see that when you reject your higher aspects of your mind, of your soul, you start to regress yourself, and that begins to break you down. And the demons ultimately want, someone asked me the other day, what do demons want? They want you dead. Okay, that's what they want. They want you to fucking destroy yourself and destroy others. They love that. They love the violence. They love some girl getting smashed and laying on the ground with her tongue like wide open with all these guys just ejaculating in her mouth. They love that. Demons love infantilization. They love it. They feed off that dark energy. It empowers them. It gets them in a frenzy. All right? The more painful it is, the more they love it. Okay? So this is all very real. I'm not fucking around here. I'm not joking. You've got to look at the context within porn and its production and how it's made. And the people that work in it, some of the most evil people you'd ever meet in your life. Just like in any entertainment industry. Although porn is probably the lowest level of entertainment, when people say they're actors, look, you don't often see porno actors with dialogue because we're not interested in the dialogue, okay? Mostly you just get on there, you watch it, you get off, and you get yourself off using someone else as an aid, as a visual aid. And it doesn't give you like what it does particularly for men, because it really destroys masculinity. It offers it up like a buffet, like sugar, like a sugary high. But in the real world, you have to go out and build connections with people. You have to put in effort. You have to date. You have to court. You have to try and connect with someone. So porn isn't real. It is not real. There's nothing wholesome within it. So the more that someone consumes it, the more they become disassociated from reality and from having to actually build and put in effort, into relationships with people so that they could build something that is real. And so also we know that it's like, also if you just watch porn all the time, you desensitize your own dick, if you're a dude, to your hand. Because now it's like fucking someone doesn't feel the same because you've desensitized yourself so much that, you don't even feel anything anymore when you do have sex. So it's all about fragmentation, separating you from your divinity, separating you from other people, separating you from yourself, separating you from your highest faculties within yourself. It's all demonic. All right? And so this is what it is. And we know that a lot of the search engines and the search bars that come up, it's all like twink stuff as well. It preys on young people, much like the gay scene. The highest gay porn that is searched is always twink porn, which is the embodiment of someone who is very innocent, someone who's very young, someone who's very naive, someone who's very skinny and white and pale and emaciated and little. Like, this type of shit is all fucked. Same with the daddy son shit, same with the, fun size, if you know what I mean. Like, a lot of this type of infantilization is all very, like it's just, dad son stuff. It's obvious, like it's family play. Things like this is very highly searched. And it's repulsive. It's really, as a spiritualist, I'm warning you. Am I perfect? No. Have I been involved in this industry? Have I met people that have been in it? Yes. Okay, so it's like, it's not what you think it is. This is not the promised land. All right, and over time afterwards, the aftermath of this really echoes not just through your life, but through people that know you. And, obviously I've always said, even now as a spiritualist and people booking me for readings and having these types of chats, which are heavy, if I'm available to everyone, I decrease my value. All right, so it's the same thing. If you are too available, then you are decreasing your value. All right, so you cannot, what I'm saying is, if you're available for everyone and everyone's had a turn on you, you can't expect to be taken seriously. You can't. Okay, especially for women. I know it sounds hard to hear, but we are talking about aspects of biology here. And that's one thing that's always interested me, is that feminism, which I spoke about a couple of days ago in my last video, feminism strangely never really came for porn. It did come back. There was a movement that came up, I think, in the 1970s about it, but it's interesting enough that this celebration of the self and women empowering themselves, but in the porno world, it's generally a woman being, used by men. It's always focused on the male aspect of a man using a woman for obvious reasons, because they're the ones inserting it, and the woman's power is the power of saying no, but she said yes. And then it just kind of goes into this thing where it's like her being abused is now hot. That's why a lot of people that are degenerates, especially with gays, I've noticed, the more caught up they are in the scene, the more that they are caught up in the gay culture, the more that they are caught up in sexual fantasies. It's like the acts become more and more degrading to turn them on. So it's a very it's like a nosedive. It's a downward slope into the pig trough. Like it's really quite extreme, And so I can see those dynamics playing out, because I've been in the scene. I was in the scene, but I've been around and I've seen enough to know how it's gone and how it's all kind of ended up where it's ended up. And it's really depressing. It's really fucked. And so this is where it's at, and this is what's happened. And so And how does one get out of it? Because it is an addiction, just like anything. And that's where demons come in. The lower astral kind of comes in, is because any level of addiction, any level of you having to get that hit, having to have that, you can't get through the day without having it. That is an addiction. It's controlling you. It's, that's the thing. It's like, try and get off it for a couple of weeks. So porn rewires the brain. It changes you over time. You can Google this, you can look it up, it's common knowledge. But yeah, to all of the porn stars that have come and gone, particularly and I know because I'm a gay man, but I know like a lot of gay porn stars over the last few years, they're all gone now, they're all dead. And even just in general, a lot of older gay men that I knew that were not necessarily in the porn industry, or men that were, say, in their like mid to late 40s when I was coming into my 20s, a lot of them are disappearing. A lot of them have disappeared, whether it was from lifestyle choices or whatever, but they kind of disappear. And I've been saying that for years. I've been having this conversation with a lot of other gay men that reach out to me and we talk about this stuff, is that a lot of them are so damaged from the scene. They're kind of chewed up and spat out and they don't really recover from it, because they've gone too far. It was too fucked. It was too hardcore. They got caught up in drugs. It was violent. They got raped. And obviously, whenever you have any level of drug involved around sex, you're changing your mental state and faculties in your brain. So you're kind of in this state of, you're out of it. I mean, why would you want to even have sex with someone that isn't even present with you? The reason that porn stars do drugs is to get through the fucking scene, because it hurts. Because it isn't real. They're putting it on. It's an act. Okay? It's not real. And so you can't prolong something that isn't real. And that's why all of this stuff, it's a sugary high. And I've mentioned that before. A perfect analogy for porn, a perfect analogy for the gay scene is having a donut. A sugary donut is a good thing. I'm not going to lie. I'm a human too, right? I'm not talking about donuts, but you know what I mean, right? But a life of donuts is a sugary, meaningless hell. And donuts will just rot your teeth, they'll rot your brain. There's no nutrients in it. It fucks you up, okay? Believe me, and at some stage I will come back on camera and share my stories and my testimonies about this industry and explain to you even in more detail than I have now about how this really can fuck you up, all right? So people just wanting to use you and discard you. This is not a healthy strategy to build a wholesome life, all right? There are consequences for this. And yes, sex magic is real as well. When two people come together and have a romp, there's a spiritual release of energy that happens in that as well. All right, which I will at some point talk about sex magic, but in terms of the lower astral and making pacts with the demonic world, very rudimented in sexual fantasies, and a lot of like sex workers can tell you stories. One of the things that I will say is when someone is climaxing and having sex with you, have you ever looked into their eyes as they're about to come, and you will see something quite unique? You'll see something, and I've seen this with many people, you'll see, and I've come to understand now what I'm looking at is in that moment when they're in that frenzy state of ecstasy, you'll see the demon in their face. Their eyes change, their eyes go black, their tongue comes out. You'll see this primal aspect of the lower astral working through them, because the demon is enjoying it. The physical aspect of it is actually a place the demon can kind of come in, particularly if it's an incubus, all right? There are incubus demons. There's different types of demons, and I'll talk about that at some point. But yes, in the moment of having sex with someone, you may notice the person's mannerisms change. That's because he's lowering himself out of his mind and his heart into that state. And the abuse and the use and that aspect is actually feeding the demon, right? So the more porn that a person can consume, the more that they are feeding the lower astral that is connected to them. Okay, so it's really like a symbiotic type thing, and then the demon will start whispering and start turning up their things inside that person's head, which will start to make them come more towards more extreme things, more consumption of people. A lot of sex addicts, sex can be an addiction too. I've met many people that have these addictions where they're controlled. They're completely, it's the devil card in the tarot. They've got a chain around their neck and it's pulling them. They have to have this hit. They have to get through this thing, all right? So it's fucked, all right? So I'm just sharing this with you. I hope this has helped if you've listened and made it through the whole of this video. I really appreciate it. Please reach out to me on Instagram if you would like to talk about how to get out of this. If you need support, then reach out to me. I'm here. You can find me on Instagram. It is Goliath_artist. That is my Instagram handle. You can also send me an email, and I do respond to all of the emails that come through. Or you can book me for a one-on-one private spiritual consultation where I look at you, I can look at your chart, I can look at your energy, we can have these types of conversations, and I can help you, because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help you. That's why I'm making these videos and putting myself out there like I am, all right? So lots and lots of love. Please find my link below. Please consider what I've talked about here, because this is no joke. All right. And the thing about the demonic world is demons are immortal. Okay. They don't die and they don't get tired. You are food to them. You're a novelty to them. They don't care about you. All right. They don't give a fuck about you. They want you dead. And they are patient. Okay. So something that could have been planted in your childhood, tick, 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 time means nothing to them. Right? So 100 years it's not even a microsecond in the spiritual world. Humans live out a natural human life and then die. Demons and angels, they live on. All right? They've been here a long time and they're not going away. All right? So don't be stupid. Stop and think about what I'm talking about here. All right? Lots and lots of truth and love to you. Leave a comment below. Don't be shy. Tell me your experiences if you feel so inclined. I'd love to hear them. And I'm not perfect, but at least I'm trying to make a difference in uploading this type of content. And this is content, by the way. It's not just nonsense. Okay? Lots of love. Bye. Bye.